I've made a list of all the levels that were at one point the most object-heavy rated levels in GD, but before I start naming them, I want you to try and make some guesses, write them down if you need to. I'll be really impressed if you can get more than like 5. All done? Brilliant. This is Jumper, and it was at one point the most effort anyone has put in a level. By one point, I mean 1.0. As soon as Geometry Dash came out, people started building their own levels, and they sucked. But in about 2 weeks, some guy thought, hey, wait a second, structure design, and also using the whole saw. Boom, 3.3 thousand objects. Then 1.1 came out. Nowadays, Time Machine might not look like much, but back then, this thing was stunning. But this video is about object counts, and you know what beats levels with good visuals? Congratulations, best automatic level. You might have gone down in history as the first auto, but I'll remember you as the disgrace that you truly are. Anyway, do you remember Darnock? Turns out, he was also the one who discovered the object limit. It was 4,000. Yeah, that's right, 4,000. Upon making this discovery, Darnock did what anyone would do in his situation, and released a level called 4,000 Blocks to Go, which had 3,997 objects. I don't know why Darnock decided to just leave it 3 objects away from the limit, but even then, it stayed number 1 for a whole month. In other news, Mask got a right on a level with 520 objects, which was by far the lowest. What a silly little guy with his silly little levels. Moving on, someone actually finally reached the limit. Specifically, it was Funny Game with his level Auto Jumper. I think this one speaks for itself. Putting real effort into something every now and then is cool. Also look, it's art! This is one of the first levels to have art. You thought Majako invented it, but no! Anyway, Jax saw this level and said, huh, I'm gonna make a knockoff of this. And then proceeded to make a knockoff called Auto Jumping Area, which also has 4,000 objects, so... Then update 1.3 came out, the limit was raised to 6,000, and robtop was back at it saying, look, this is what your levels should look, oh for fuck's sake. How long can it possibly take the community to figure out the concept of coherence? Aha, much better. Isn't it funny how there are both terrible and great levels claiming the number 1 spot? Speaking of terrible, here's Happy Journey. This creation doesn't even look 1.4 to me for some reason. It reminds me more of the recent tab back in 2.0. If you're wondering how this managed to have so many objects, then... yeah, where have I seen that before? Next is Whalus by BigId1442, which has 2 objects more than the last level, and also it's version 10, but you know, let's assume the object count was about the same around this time. Moving on. The new object limit has been reached. This is Hardcore Flight by PM creator Arco. I think this part is pretty neat. The structures here are quite ahead of their time. Sadly, the level gets pretty mid halfway in. Yo, it's Club Step. robtop asserts his dominance once again. At that point, he was still one of the only competent creators in the game. Anyway, during 1.6, the entire community decided they would take their 1.5 levels and redesign them, which complicated my research for this video. I guess they thought it would be really funny. Funny? Requiem by Funny Game is one of them. Auto Showtime by... is the other one. Which one was updated first? We'll never know. But then a new, fresh level came out. Clubstep V2 by Neptune. Unfortunately, Clubstep V2 would end up getting an update as well eventually, so this original version is lost. What's a bit sus is that when I went to the editor and I tried to revert the changes, I ended up with a little over 8,100 objects. In other words, slightly above the object limit. Can you guess why that is? Correct, there was a certain bug in GD. Basically, the copy-paste button always worked, and seeing that Clubstep V2 ended with a bunch of copy-pasted Clubstep monsters, I think it's clear what happened. And so, as Neptune was sitting approximately 100 millimeters above his throne, the rest of the community watched him and said, nope, we'll figure it out in like 3 business months. Clubstep V2 remained uncontested all the way until 1.7's release. Sadly, this will be the last time we see a robtop level in this video, because shit starts to go down soon. Though it's not the last time we see electrodynamics. I can't help but feel like this isn't the most accurate representation of what robtop had in mind, but maybe that's just me. Next up, of course, is Electrodynamics V2 by Neptune, which coincidentally also went like 100 objects past the limit. Only 1 business month left until we catch on. "Ooh, I got it, said Samsar, and then he proceeded to make Clutterfunky. If you're wondering why it has so many objects, then, well... But this doesn't abuse copy-paste too much, said Minus, and then he proceeded to build Lightwave. For 1.7 this is definitely a nice effect, If only it didn't require stacking the same object over itself several times. 3 weeks later, 1.8 came out, and one of its first levels was Bug Force. It kinda makes sense why it has so many objects once you notice its excessive use of, well, everything. The next 2 levels came out pretty much at the same time, and it's impossible to tell which one got rated first. But I think you can imagine I'm rooting for Meow. This level is literally peak art, but yeah, even if it got rated first, it would have probably been number 1 for like a couple minutes. In any case, Darnock managed to make it back into this video 7 versions later, which is pretty impressive. This is the guy who discovered the object limit in 1.1, and I think it's quite poetic that he also has the very last level on this list that will be within the object limit. So, who crossed it now? Who had the pleasure? Well, it was Samsar again, with his level Heptagon Force. It made it here mostly because the structures are unnecessarily big, but it's still a respectable level. However, this is where people really start to abuse the copy-paste bug. Brace yourselves, because a certain 1.7 level just got an update. Yep, this is where it's at. In terms of the highest object count, Trollface LOL caused one of the biggest leaps in GD history, and it stayed number 1 for 3 months. Hey, it's 1.9 now. Have you heard of Sweet Dude? Clearly he was inspired by Trollface LOL because... And that's how you get 20,000 objects. A guy called CDL Awesome Me noticed this and said, maybe if I do the same thing but put 20% more effort into it, I'll get away with it too. And he did. By the way, it's worth noting that around this time, a level called the Roller Coaster popped up, and it might have possibly been number 1 at some point, but let's just say that trying to track it down would be rather fruitless. But, you know, at the end of the day, despite not being great, these 3 still look like levels. Which is not what the creator of Trollface LOL would have wanted. Aha! Much better! And so another 2 months go by. While we're waiting, wanna see something funny? Hilarious, isn't it? Say hello to Fire Aura by user Matt18. And now say bye because it lasted a day. Neon Doom by Nubass is not entirely free of sin either, but at least it has some interesting visuals. Also, Nubass kinda deserved this spot. He'd been getting dangerously close for a while. Anyway, what's next? Super Meat Boy by... Damn! Nubass is on a roll! Also, this level is awesome. This is what I hoped to find when doing research. Unlike Flare by Galvatron. I wonder where I've seen this before. This part looks cool to be fair. But still, I'm sure Galvatron could do better than this. That's not remotely what I meant! Anyway, in May 2015, something incredibly funny happened.
After 1 entire week of hard work, my level is finished. It has 104,000 objects, guys. That is like so much. I hope it gets featured. Yeah, give it like 5 or 6 stars because it's very long.
Hey, nice level.
Thank you.
Hey, that's a really cool level.
Thank you.
Hello, this is awesome.
Thank you, thanks everyone. My next level will have 200,000 objects. Why is it not featured yet? Oh, hello, can you feature this?
Jesus fucking Christ, does that say 104,000 objects?
Yeah, awesome, isn't it?
I mean, okay, I'm gonna give it a star rate, I guess, because this is unplayable for most people.
1 week of hard work and no feature? There, now it's 74,000 objects, so please feature it. robtop? robtop?
I'm not exaggerating, by the way, that is genuinely what happened. Anyway, I don't quite get how this manages to have 104,000 or even 74,000 objects, but I guess it's an okay level. Moving on. Alpha Crystal was built in 1.9 but released in 2.0. You can probably tell immediately what the issue with this level is. But yeah, it lasted 10 months. Next is Lambda Core. I remember when this level came out, it was a pretty damn big deal. In all honesty, the gameplay is awful, but the level is still outstanding for its time. Next is O-Series. I remember when this level came out, it was a pretty damn big deal. In all honesty, the gameplay is awful, but the level is still outstanding for its time. 2.1 is now out. And do you remember those tiny coins in Finger Dash? Well, the creator Chase saw that and thought, I could make a boss fight demon out of that. And so he made a boss fight demon out of that. Say hello to Hyperdimension, a level that is, surprisingly enough, actually pretty well optimized. Okay, now say goodbye cause Dark Travel came out. It only makes sense that a level that is 6 minutes long is on this list. The average GD player is not even 6 minutes old. Anyway, here comes the level you've all been waiting for. Glowy! Fun fact, if you get rid of all the glow, the level will have fewer objects than this. Now, this funny 5-star got rated, and it is so poorly optimized that even the Nexus video is laggy. I have no clue why a Daydream Journey has 335,000 objects, especially because I can't even open it in the editor. Chromulant is a 5-minute long extreme with an identity crisis. Doesn't have much else going for it. The next level is one you probably haven't heard of. Enantiomorphs is an insane demon with excessive glow and the same block design copy-pasted throughout the entire thing. Guys, the point of this level is that I do whatever I want. I don't care if it's repetitive, said the creator. And honestly, good for you, man. Anyway, 13 months later, Ocular Miracle got rated. This thing has 822,000 objects, which is more than double the previous entry. Let's try and play it. Unfortunately, Ocular Miracle was so fat that GD couldn't handle it and it was unrated 5 hours later, giving the #1 spot back to Enantiomorphs. Hey, do you remember that one guy who got to 100,000 objects in 1.9? Well, turns out, he is now the second biggest creator of all time. And he said, it's been 5 years since I had the most object heavy rated level.
Let's make a comeback.
You've probably heard of CastleMania, but if you don't know what the quirk is, well, there are many paths you can choose from. Don't like it in the sinking sewers? Bye! Now you can be in prison. In other words, this is basically several levels stacked over each other. But 415,000 objects doesn't quite do it for me anymore. The game is suffering from a severe lack of Ocular Miracle. I really miss it. Hey, how about I make a sequel? Said Wapon77. But let's make sure the game can just barely handle it this time. And so on May 30th, 2021, Adrenaline was rated. 1.5 years later, as of me having finished the list, it has yet to be defeated. Except I've spent so long writing the script that there's been a new edition since then. For some reason, on December 8th, robtop rated Korn, then realized it has 560,000 objects, and unrated it immediately. What's even more crazy is that this is the optimized version. The original had over 1 million. But regardless, Adrenaline is currently still the most object heavy rated level in Geometry Dash, and my research is finally done! I've been creating this list for over a month and I've probably spent over 50 hours on it. Since so many levels get updates later on, I had to completely rebuild the list twice after finding a small mistake. It's probably still not entirely accurate, but it's gotta be damn close. If you wanna know more, check out the description where I'll explain the method I used and leave links to additional stuff. Alright, so if I decide to do anything else within the next 10 years, then see you there.